Well, good morning, one and all. I believe it's good morning. We may have a colleague or two. I think I know I see. Let's see, where did I? I know I saw one of our colleagues from across the pond. One of our colleagues is joining us from the island of Cyprus. I think winning the prize from the greatest distance away from the point of origin. So great to see you on this morning. Um, my name is Chet Davis, also known as a Casablanca expert. I'm holding these monthly webinars for website members slash subscribers of the CasablancaExpert.com website and resources. Up there's Chris. Great to see you along, Chris. Glad you could join for however long you were able to today. Um, it is a delight to spend this time. Today is a what we call a community webinar. We have these occasionally where folks, both the website members, but also folks in the Casablanca community who may not be or who are not yet, for one reason or another, members of the Casablanca Expert website. And delighted, extremely delighted to have with us today the one and only Gary McNally, the president, the grand poobah, the owner of Macro System Americas, to join us on a journey of what's new in today's Casablanca. Gary, would you like to kick it off with like kind of, and I know we're in the middle of a software sale that I think runs through what, January 31st?
Correct.
Okay. You want to give us a little highlight for what's going on there? So as we're taking a look at some of the software released in the last 12 months, folks can kind of whet their appetite and see if this is something that will add to their magic box of tricks and their tools for videos. If this is something that would be advantageous for them to jump on the opportunity of your sale.
Yeah. Well, first of all, besides the great new software we have, it's never been this low in price. For instance, if you bought some of these old effects packs, all the effects packs 1 through, we just went through the price list and with Germany's help, dramatically lowered the prices. Plus, if you buy one, you get 10% off. If you buy, all the way up to, if you buy 5 titles, all the way up to 50% off. And like I was just talking about the effects packs, 1 through 6 are only $40. So if you buy, 5 of those, you would only spend 160, and it'd be half of that, so $80 if my cobweb mind is thinking properly this early in the morning, Chet.
Great, great. That's a great deal. That's a
I
great
had
deal.
to shut up a second and grab some more coffee here.
All right. And for those, and regularly I have people emailing me and contacting me about, hey, I've got a Prestige, I have a Renomé, et cetera, and what do you think about the new systems? And I know you and I have talked, Gary, and I see your communication regularly. And first of all, just so everyone's clear, Gary's not paying me to do this. I am not a Casablanca authorized dealer, reseller. We have a couple of those colleagues on the line, and our video expert resellers who are affiliated with Macro System Americas. The wonderful thing is they're actually users of the product. Unlike some product lines, they just kind of people just they sell it because they make a buck off it. But the people I know who Gary has as his expert resellers are people that actually use the product and can assist you and make sure you're getting the system and the software that's appropriate. And I don't do this because I'm getting any kind of a spiff or what we would call a kick from Macro System Germany or Americas to do this. I'm an end user like you, and I see it as my job to provide you with expert tips and instruction and how to get the most of your Casablanca. So my comments are always related to, I'm an end user like you. So I'm always honest in my perspective. And I see it as my job to kind of moderate and make sure you have the information available to you to make the best decision for your budget and for the kind of projects you do. So, but I know that a lot of people who have been with Casablanca for a while and have, the Casablanca 2 systems, which were great at their time, given the type of video media that was out there, largely streaming video coming from, a DV, even up into an HDV camcorder. And now with most video cameras delivering their signal on as a video file, and we're into not only full HD and 4K and UHD, which we'll talk about today. The system that was created 8-10 years ago is great for the video that was made 8-10 years ago. But if you are creating video, or you have clients creating video and bringing it to you on contemporary camcorders, the system that was made 8 and 10 years ago is not designed to handle what we have here. The analogy is like, yeah, the Ford in 1932 that my dad had was awesome at its time, but if I'm going to do a cross country trip, I'm going to want to buy a contemporary vehicle that's going to get me where I need to go. So, Gary, would you just give us a quick overview on contemporary hardware systems? Not a step by step, but just kind of an overview, and where you see, as the owner of Macrosystem Americas, how the product line has evolved, and what's it like for your customers dealing with today's technology.
Well, the biggest change from the old standalone units to the Windows units is that we're able to keep current with all the latest hardware. Back in the Linux days and the VxWorks days, Smart Edit days, is also known by. The Linux, doesn't have a lot of things done for you, so a lot of Linux code writers had to write the code for the motherboards of the day, and they came out about every 6 months. So you would notice things like the Carrot, the last standalone we had, it was still on an i3 at the end of its product cycle when they finally ran out of those about 2015. And so now we use the Windows, and either Windows, Microsoft does all that code writing for us, or the hardware manufacturers like NVIDIA does all that code writing for us, and so now it's no work to get this stuff to market. As soon as the hardware comes out, we're ready to go. And so every time I make an order from Germany, which is frequent, I'm constantly keeping you're on the product page there, and I'm constantly changing the specs on those systems, because every time they come in from Germany, they're faster. It's just amazing. I mean, we'd probably be up to a travel Casablanca 4 Studio 2. Instead of 2, it'd be probably a 12 by now. I mean, that's how many times the hardware has improved, since I've been here 6 years.
Mm-hmm. And as a person who's into technology myself, I know a lot of times I hear people saying, well, it's the computer companies, whether it's Apple or Dell or Macro System, always trying to get us to buy something new. And one of the things I point out, that these organizations are a sales organization, but they're creating products for a specific purpose, and in this case, for our community, for creating and editing videos. And it's oftentimes the software or the needs, like you said, that are created by partners in the industry. In this case, the video camera manufacturers, who are attempting to push the envelope with their clients, and their creative partners, us video producers, who create the demands oftentimes for the hardware. So it's, if you end up purchasing a full HD camera back in the day, and now a camera that's capable of 4K video or UHD, then then you have to have a system that's going to handle and process that. And so it's not only that someone's wanting you to invest, more in your tool set. It's that you need to, if your route is to go with the newer acquisition hardware. So I don't know if that makes sense in terms of that explanation, but it's keeping up, not to keep up, but it's keeping up with the tool set that you need to provide. And if that's you deem that's appropriate for your business or your hobby, for your passion, and then it does require additional investment in the hardware and as we'll talk a little bit about today, the software to enable you to do the kind of things that you want to do.
Yeah, not only is there only so much the old hardware can do. Back all the smart edit things like the Prestige and Renome and Solitaire and Cron Plus and Avio, all those units. Their parts have been missing for so long. I mean, 2008, no longer could you buy those Pioneer DVD burners that were in those units, and that hasn't changed. So can't get those unless you buy them used. And what good is a used part that is already been used for what are we 12 years, since they last made them. Wow. So at least 12 years old. And, it's just a plastic part, the gears in those things are just plastic. So they wear out really easy. And hard drives to those old Smart Edit units have not been available since 2010 was the last manufacturer that made one of those IDE drives. So you got that issue. Hard drives are only designed to last at max 3 years. Whatever the warranty is on those things at the time is the max that they're designed to last. And they've been dumbing down those parts and quality. The hard drive manufacturers. There used to be a lot of gold and silver and platinum in those hard drives, and it's really thin now. But anyway, I digress. So you can't get hard drives. I mean, what value is it to spend a week or two editing a project and to lose it? I know we have tools, but most people don't use them to back up their system. So and then put in a 12-year-old hard drive to try to get that old Smart Edit system working again. I mean, why would you invest all that time and all that work on a hard drive? I mean, they're like $100 or less, nowadays. I mean, and they're so much faster, and so that's the main issue. Yeah, we just don't have parts for those old units, and to work on them, people will think, well, it's probably cheaper to work on an old system I buy on eBay or something like that. But you can't even get the smart cards, to put the software on the hard drives for those things anymore. The smart cards haven't been available since 2005.
That's right.
So
that's right.
It's crazy. You spoke of old cars. It's like trying to keep a Model T going,
Right. And the people I know that do that, they spend more money in that than they do on their contemporary cars.
Yeah, that's my point, because there are no new parts for those old things, so we're using old used parts if we try to repair them, and you have to disassemble them, put the part in. Usually it's the motherboard or the video board. You way down below, and you have to take everything out, put the new used board in, and Chuck, God bless him, back in Boulder, he was great, but he didn't label all those used parts that he used to pull off all those old trade-ins very well. And so it's hard to tell, what, if you got a good one or not. So, yeah, I've done 3 or 4 rebuilds before I finally found the problem. And that video board on that Prestige, for instance, it had so many inputs front and back that it's probably a 99% chance that one of those inputs or outputs aren't going to work on that board. That's the situation with that board.
Gotcha. Yeah. So it's, I think it's, I choose to use the word when I invest in computer equipment too. I choose the word investment. Like last year, I bought a new still camera that also had video, and it had a long lens because I did several trips with wildlife and I needed that much longer lens. And you got some amazing footage of orangutans and proboscis monkeys and, on the island of Borneo. And it was because I chose to invest in that. So I could have said, I've got this old camera and I've got my iPhone, which I love. But I would have been disappointed in the footage I came back with after this amazing experience. So I had to choose to invest in my technology. And I say invest, I don't think of it as a capital outlay, as a one-time purchase. I think of it as an amortized purchase. So, if I'm going to be doing video for the next 3 to 7 years, and I'm going to invest in a system that's going to meet my needs and handle my efficiencies. And so that's the way, if you're looking to invest in a new system, that's how I recommend you approach it. And then talk to one of the video experts that are working with Gary here in Macro System Americas, and tell them your needs, and they'll give you options as far as what a system is that's ideal for you, and then you make the decision if that, which tool is right for you. But anyway, I just wanted to have that conversation because I think it's a really important one to have. That a lot of people, we bristle at the thought of spending money, and I don't at this point in time, not yet, have I didn't check last night's winnings though. I haven't won the lottery yet, so I have to be careful with my purchases as well. But I think of it as an investment in my passion and my business. So, all right, enough of that chat with Chet. Unless there's something else you wanted to add there, Gary.
On since you have the page up, well, there it went. But
Yeah, let me go. Let me go
um,
back.
but not only is there a software sale, 50% off. If you just wanted to put some software on your PC, well, actually, if you wanted to put some software on your old Casablanca 3 as well, and I don't recommend it after my 5 minute spiel a minute ago, but the smart edit stuff, they still sell it over in Germany. But I hate to sell anything on something that might break, if you sneeze or something. So, yeah, I'm really conflicted on that. But yeah, if somebody really wanted it, we could sell it to them, but I don't recommend it. And anyway, all our new systems, if you notice, also got extra software until the 31st of January. The higher end, if you scroll down there, actually there's just one below it, but it's got 7 free add-on titles of choice, and then 5. Actually, it's 6 now. The 2019 Club Pro software just came out. So there's like on that Sapper 2, which is really fast. You've got 13 extra titles of software you get until the 31st, and the best selling thing right now is that Travel 2. Look at the specs on it. It's got an i7 9750H, and even it's got 5 add-on software titles that come free in addition to the ones that already come with it, and 6 Club Pro titles as well. So that's also going on till the 31st. So yeah, right now as we speak, we've got a whole lot of Christmas orders we're still trying to fulfill on that Travel too.
Oh, great. Well, I appreciate the candid comments from one of my website members. Says, "Okay, Chet, we got the point. Let's move on." So, okay. So,
Well,
I appreciate your.
That's why
honesty. There you go.
That's why I usually deal in the emails, because
There you go.
I can go on.
Well, I think that comment was directed at me, and that's okay. So, but
Okay.
it's rare that I get to bring you onto the community, and I wanted to make sure we touch bases. Now, for those of you live with us today, the question box is open. If you do have questions, we are happy to entertain those as we move throughout the program. So go ahead and enter your questions. If I don't address it immediately, know that we'll have like a Q&A time. We'll stop a couple times. So here's my thoughts today. We wanted to tease the newest software products. There's Arabesque 8, and something is called the UHD collection. And then just to point out, over the last 12 months, if I've done my homework correctly, the company released something called 3D World this last year, Pip Studio 3, Pattern 3, which is a small piece of software, but I'm going to show you something I really like about it, and then Effects Pack 9. So I believe I'm accurate on those, Gary. So and what I wanted to do though, before we jumped into the UHD collection and Arabesque 8, I think it's important we understand, we kind of revisit the concept of what is UHD. Most of us are very familiar with the term HD, or high definition. And I know arguably, because we had people in the JVC community and people in the Sony community back when HD came out, and there was like a big I'm not even talking about Panasonic, because they were in their own. They didn't even want to go in the pool. They were in their own little hot tub, and they didn't want to play with anybody else at the start. But um, so we had HD, which most people arguably would say was 720p, and then we had full HD, which is 1080p, 1920 by 1080p, and our Casablanca has been able to work with that for some time. Now, the later versions, we have the term 4K, okay? And the term UHD, ultra high definition, versus HD, high definition, or full high definition, full HD. There is a distinction between DCI 4K and 4K UHD, and I don't want to be pedantic and beat this with a stick, but it is just for your knowledge and information. So most of us, when we shoot 4K, we are shooting 4K UHD, which is, as you can see on this chart here, it's 3840 by 2160. So both 4K UHD and DCI 4K, which, if my acronyms are correct, is the digital, oh geez, I forgot it now. Digital cinema. Somebody can look that up and pop it in there, but it's the Digital Cinema Industries. It's their format of 4K, and you see that it's the same height in terms of pixels, but there are some additional pixels on the horizontal plane. So it's 4096 rather than 3840. And where you see DCI 4K is primarily only in the cinemas. If you go to a digital projector at a theater and they have 4K, it is more than likely to be the DCI 4K. Again, that's primarily the realm of the cinema. For those of us who shoot video and edit video in the home for business, we're largely doing the 4K UHD. And so the company has the title of the product, the title of the project is UHD. So, and that's why I wanted to make this little distinction, ultra high definition. So as we're going through these two, I'm going to ask you to be my my truth serum here, Gary, and it's not really truth serum, but my fact checker here. One of our colleagues asked a great question: is which of the new programs are not available for Linux and OS 11? And I probably need to say right off the gate that UHD, if I'm not mistaken, the UHD collection does require the Bogart 11 is 11.3.
Well, certainly the Arabesque 8 it requires 11.3, and it loads with I don't know if I said it, a Bogart 8. So Bogart 11.3 is how you the Arabesque 8 is included in it, as well as the Arabesque 7 when you download that and install it. As far as the UHD collection, it's not going to work on the Casablanca 3s, but it would be 2K, full HD, I do believe. you've got it there. While you're talking, I can kind of
Okay, yeah, I'll
find out
continue on.
about.
And then one of our colleagues asks, is there going to be something similar to color filter coming out? And that colleague, can you expand on your question, please? And I'm gonna take a moment here. We're gonna pause for the cause. I'm gonna switch over to my Casablanca 4 Studio Pro. So this will just take a moment here while we're hanging in here. So please stand by. And switching over. All right. So do me a favor, those of you, if you would go ahead and click, raise your hand if you can see my Casablanca interface now. Should, top macro system, Bogart SE. Excellent. Thank you, Bill. So again, I am on the Casablanca 4 Studio Pro, and I am running the Bogart 11.3. Quick note too, if you didn't see this in the recent email from Gary, his e-newsletter, it is important to note that those of us in the Americas need to be aware that we do have this newer feature, the ability to download software from a server that the system has had for a while, but it goes to the PAL server for Europe, Asia, and Australia. And we are advised for our own benefit to wait until we hear clearance from the NTSC team, from Macro System Americas, on the newest versions of software. So I did see there's an 11.4 out, but I don't believe that's cleared yet for use in NTSC. So the latest version is 11.3 for those of you continuing to edit in NTSC. So what, in terms of the newest pieces here, great. Thank you for those of you who raised your hand and confirm for me that you could see my screen. I appreciate that. So I'm going to move this over here. Perfect. Let's go. So I'm gonna the two newest pieces of software first, and then we'll move on down to the software that was released previously this year. So stand by, getting my notes out here. You haven't lost me. I'm just pausing for the cause here, as I think I have a single core processor. Not quite as. So as I come in to launch Arabesque, and again, Arabesque 8, I am always a huge fan when new software has what I call cross functionality, where I can move my knowledge base doesn't require a whole new learning set. And so Arabesque 8 has, those of you who already work in Arabesque, and have worked with Arabesque, 6 and 7, you have a very, very similar looking interface that you had. So where'd it go here? The biggest differences, I would say the primary benefit of Arabesque 8 is for those of you who are creating UHD disks for your own consumption or for your clients. So previously we could do HD disks. Now we have the ability to do UHD disks directly from UHD content and from your 4K projects. Along with that, you have the support for the newer 100 gigabyte Blu-ray discs. So previously we were relegated to the lower capacity. And it's funny when I say lower capacity, like 25 gigabytes. Back in the day, can you imagine 10 years ago if we knew there was a 25 gigabyte optical disk, we'd be laughing like there's no way, Chet. It's like I have a 2 terabyte drive. And those of you who have been with Casablanca for a while, I remember back in the day on our Cassie Classic when we got a, what,
2 gigabyte.
yeah, 2 gigabyte drive, or oh my gosh, like we were like woohoo, and it cost
And those were like 1,000 or two.
That's right. We were thrilled. Now 2 terabyte drive. So amazing stuff. So the cool feature is again the ability to burn the higher resolution disks, and there's also this guy here, which is really cool. Where'd you go here? Right here, burn multiple disks one after the other. So you can set up your system so that it will actually, like if I needed 4 copies of one of my projects, instead of me coming back to have to initiate the whole process, it would create the disk, eject the disk, pop out, I'd put the next one in, and it would continue on with the process. So it's an efficiency saver. It's a time saver for those of you, who don't have or don't need a duplicating tower. You're essentially handling it right inside the system, which is really, really cool. So that's a function I think that some people are going to really appreciate, especially if you're doing work for hire. So, and that I know Jorg Sprava said years ago when I was walking with him, between the hotel and the exhibit hall at NAB, he said, Chet, one of the most important things we can do in our software development is save time for the end user. That's one of the biggest focuses. So what can we do to save time for the end user? So again, the nice thing about Arabesque 8, again, you're not learning a whole new menu system. There are the add-ons that let you make the changes here. So in Disk Project, I have the ability to the target format to make it a UHD disk. So I can go beyond Blu-ray's capability, Blu-ray's capacity, and go up to a full UHD disk to create that higher resolution, that greater image quality for if I demand it, my eyes demand it, or my customer that has that need or that demand. The UHD collection is a collection of animated and still high quality, high resolution images that is built into your Casablanca. So kind of like in some ways the Border X collection that was static, and then we had some Border X animated images. But it goes a step beyond that. To me, it's kind of like for those who've been in the business or in the hobby for some time. To me, one of the standout providers was Digital Hotcakes. These wonderful, and I still have a couple of their mini DVs and some DVDs that we used to load in with disk transfer. But having this UHD collection negates your ability to bring in outside resources. And it's built right into the system. And we're going to see it's also over in the editing menu. But since we're inside of Arabesque already, what I wanted to do is show you how that shows up here. So in the menu templates, when I load, you have, my templates that you may have created yourself. And you have Arabesque. I have Arabesque, speak slowly, Chet. Arabesque Anim X, and it has these animated collections here. But what the UHD collection adds, and when you click on these, by the way, it does take a moment to load. The cool thing I like about UHD, Gary, and the colleagues online is that you can actually install the program in demo mode and take a look on your own system. Again, that's what I've liked a lot about a number of the software collections is don't just buy it on spec, buy it if you review it and it works for you. So I think that's pretty cool. Now, truth be told as well, it is a large download. Did I emphasize that enough? It is a big file because it is high resolution graphics. The
Yeah, like about it's about the size of a DVD.
Yeah. So plan on it taking a while. And And if your experience is like mine, in fact, I will create a video showing this. My system broke it down into 4 separate components, and I installed each one separately. So if that's your experience too, it's not difficult. It was just different than I was used to in previously, and so it downloaded the first because they are so huge. And what that means to us and to our audience is you have the image quality, you have high quality graphics. So as we walk through this, so it does take a moment to load each one. So as you click on one, go to a different one because you've seen that one already. You can see there's some information usable for 1 to 2 movies, up to 6 chapters per page. So it has a built-in chapter menu. And it doesn't look like it here because this is a static thumbnail, okay? But when I come over here and show you, so you can see that I've created a sample menu, and you click Disk Preview, it'll actually give you, he says, an animated look at what that looks like. Come down here. There's 20 different menu templates. There you go. There's the one I thought I loaded. Let me get the disk preview and see if she's going to show for me here. I wonder if it's because I'm running the software here. So when you download it yourself and play with it, let's see if I can load another one. And these are animated, which is really, really cool. Okay, push this over here. Now it's going to show the actual video, so never mind on that. Huh. Okay. Of course it worked when I was, brushing up this morning and doing my demo work and everything. But the cool thing is I can show you elsewhere in the Casablanca menu, but you have those menu templates, okay? And I didn't have my chapter menu set up on that guy. So let me pop over to the main menu and show you where the UHD collection, again, if this is something of interest to you. So you're under New, there is this button Animation. So you select Animation, and I should back out and show you this here. There is this loop function, okay? So if I click loop, it will create a looping animation. And if not, then... So it does give you, I don't know if you're able to see it in the slow scan video on the webinar, but perhaps you can see the motion going on. And here's the one we were just using inside of that menu template inside of Arabesque 8. So it gives you this. And so you can use these as well outside of Arabesque. So it's like a collection. And I'll make it really short just so for the purposes of our time together here. Let's do a minute 23. Sorry, Bogart has stopped working. I think I'm taxing the webinar software is being fun for me this morning. So now when I work with Macro System US, I used to say, well, we plan these shutdowns on purpose because we want you to feel like I feel like right now, or for me to feel like you like it. It happens to all of us. So the wonders of technology.
For 4K, that's a lot of data to move through.
A lot, yeah. And I do have, honestly, I do have one of the older systems. And so I am a very powerful system. But again, we're running that 4K. And again, here's one of the quickies that, really, really clean looking animation. So great looking stuff. I believe I will use these in title screens. I will use these, of course, in DVD menus, but in title screens and closing credits, in bumps between different content. Let's do a really
and that's only that whole program with all those 4K worth of animations and stills and whatnot is only $49. If you get it on the sale, $24.50.
Wow.
50% off.
Again,
5 titles.
really high quality. And again, those of you who've been looking for some image collections like this, you don't have to spend your time. I mean, that's more affordable than any of the digital image collections that I've seen out there. In fact, you can see some online that you have to pay for, and you pay more for one of those kind of jump backs than you do for the multiples that you have available here. One of our colleagues asked, what is the use of the disk in the age of USB drives? So I assume that person asked that back inside of Arabesque, and um, um, I have a personal answer is I do deliver a great um, deal more of my content as a video file on USB. But there are a number of consumers who still are utilizing optical drives to play back. So I don't know if you have anything to add about that, Gary, but we're still seeing a lot of people still have their DVD players, or their Blu-ray players, and they prefer that medium. One of the biggest things that I hear from our community is they still like the interactive menu options that you have inside of a DVD created in Arabesque that you just do not have with a video file delivery system, specifically video on a USB stick. So um, those are my 2 cents.
Yeah, I may just add a couple. The You can. There's a free program called VideoLAN, VLC, I guess. You just type in free download of VLC, VideoLAN. I don't forget what the C stands for, but anyway, it will maintain, if you burn the ISO file in Arabesque, it will maintain all the chapter points and support those on that free software download. So you can maintain all your chapters and whatnot with that software on your computer. Also, with this 4K, you need if you want to send out 4K disc, you also need a 4K disc player or UHD player, and so the DVD player or the Blu-ray players aren't going to play those in 4K. So they're about $100 on up. Maybe I've seen people spend $200-300 on them, but so that's where all the studio people, the movie people have gone to is the 4K disc players.
Right.
Some of our customers have elaborate home studios.
Yes. A couple more questions since we're kind of paused for a question here is one of our colleagues asked, do you need Arabesque 8 to run these animations, or can it run on Arabesque 7? I assume they're talking about the UHD collection.
Well, I haven't used it enough to really know. I'm mired in operations over the last year or two.
I will look that up here as well. That's a great question, and as long as your hardware is compatible, it's my understanding you could use these animations here, and I can show folks. I mean, there is a way, remember, to pull over an animated scene from your scene bin into Arabesque. It wouldn't be in the menu template. You would self-create the menu, but I can go ahead and quickly show that now. That may be a neat capability for all of us to be reminded of. And while I'm doing that, let's see, if we don't have UHD disc gear, and there are only some DVD players, Blu-ray players that are compatible with UHD discs, and I know that Michael Hubner is updating with Macro System or Macro Motion, I should say, under his Shield EU company over there in Germany, Austria, the running list of those players that are fully compatible with UHD disks. And it's not a macro system limitation, it's an industry limitation. So you want to be aware, you just can't put this UHD disk out and expect, it's just like when we went Blu-ray. Remember those of us who did that? It's like, or even HD, there were some that were not compatible from previous generation DVD players. Um, can you write files, for example, a MP4 UHD? So if you can you, his question is, can you export? So you could do an ISO file, like you said, Gary, right, and have that run on the VLC software. Mike shares that he has used the VLC software running a portable version of this on a USB stick. You can rip it to DVD. Still trying to figure out how to add more DVDs and have menus for each one play. I did do a webinar, and I'm going to have to go back. I'll put it in the notes for today's show, so those of you who signed up will get an email with these links. But I did do a program. I'm trying to remember the name of the program, and I cannot right now, that allows you to load videos, and it's like their file. There's a couple of solutions out there. Honestly, a couple that I tried were clunky, and they didn't meet my seal of approval. Chet Davis Underwriter Laboratories. They were clunky. The interface was difficult, and I wasn't 100% thrilled with the end result. It kind of created an app. See, the beauty of DVDs, I turned left here, but I signaled. The beauty of DVDs is the technology was built in for the interactive menus. They were made to read the instructions as far as how the menu was shown to the consumer. So really, it's like code that was built in, delivered on the disk along with the audio and video files that said, present this, and when the customer clicks here, take them to this file that's located on this drive, on this disk. The trick for a lot of us delivering video files now is if you expect that same customer experience, what we call the UX or the user interface, you have to provide an application or a program that says, okay, when the customer inserts this, have it show them this menu. And when they click on this button in this menu, take them to this content and play this content. When that content is over, take them to this menu. That's what our Arabesque authoring system does, and Roxy and all the others out there. It's fairly sophisticated programming made simple for us to be able to create this content. So for us to deliver this on a USB stick, you have to not only have the content, but you have to have an application program that creates that user interface experience. And I've, again, not seen much out there that does it yet. And it doesn't do it the way that I think is elegant, sophisticated, and works for me. Again, there are Windows-based solutions out there. I haven't been thrilled with one. The one thing that I thought was cool is a tool that both delivers that experience on a flash drive that has a menu, and also hosts an online version. And again, the company information will be available in the notes. It is a subscription service. You do pay a monthly subscription, but if this is your business, it may be worth you considering. It's like wedding and event videography, you can have X number of titles, and it does provide that kind of experience if that's what you need. And I did a webinar where I walked through the interface. They have a free trial that you can check it out. Some more questions here. ISO files don't play on smart TVs or computers. Now, you'd have to play it out a regular. So yeah, if you're using something like the VLC software, that would have to be on a Mac or Windows computer. You are correct, Chris. So that VLC software. Let's see, what is the maximum length of DVD program that can be created on a standard DVD with Arabesque? 8? That great question, Greg. That is going to depend on your quality setting. And if I want to be hyper specific and persnickety, it's also going to depend on the amount of movement in your video. Um, I've got a chart on my website. I can link that as well. But for most people, what do you say, Gary? I recommend about an hour 40, an hour 50 minutes for a good quality DVD. Would you say that's in the ballpark there?
Yeah, you put you more than that, and you could be doing it over.
Yeah. You can squeeze more on by reducing the quality setting. And what we're doing is technically speaking, we're reducing the bit rate, but it also does have an impact on the perceptible quality that your audience is going to view. I am a much bigger fan of delivering a 2-disc set than squeezing it into a single disc just to fit for space. Plus, honestly, in the marketing world, you have greater value in delivering a 2-disc set than a single one. So, but that's my marketing 2 cents there. Some good questions from you all. Thank you for that. Let's see. Did I miss one here? What is the? Okay, we did that. Okay, so I'm going to show you real quick how to take an animation and load it into Airbest, and then we'll quickly visit the other new programs. Again, I have webinars on these new products that came out this year, and Gary on his website, will show you that. We'll provide the link. Has product videos on most, if not all of them as well, that go into detail. Joel Brooks did some wonderful work creating the videos that will show you these as well. We just wanted to kind of give you a highlighted taste. But if I pop into Airbest, so let's say first I have this. So I have this animation here. Let's say I wanted to use this animation, this kind of the lights, and I don't know if you can see in the webcam, but there's all these little like tiny light blue particles, kind of like I would say fireflies, but if I was visiting Florida in the summertime, we have mosquitoes here, and if I wanted to create a menu and use that as the background, what we'd do is we'd pop into Arabesque. Again, we can use these animations. I'm going to go to a different disk project. Let's come over here. Okay, so you can see I have a background here, but I can come into the main menu and I'm going to select background. And again, what I would do here, and you all have this, you've had this in Arabesque for a long time, this ability. So I can create an animated scene, and I need to find that specific scene. And I'm trying to remember what, I think we were just inside of this project here. And so it's highlighted on the scene in the scene bin that I was selected. You see it's a 5-second long animation here. So ideally I would want to do, goodness, what, 29.25 for the animation, but you can see, okay. So that now pulls up that animation, and I've got an overlay here that's inside of Arabesque, but if not, so you can use an animated scene inside your scene bin, even if Arabesque 7 did not allow that to bring that up. Okay, so that's how, and one of the nice features in Arabesque, you can pull that animated scene. Doesn't have to be truly animated. It could be full motion video from your scene. Okay, so again, I could select this here, and I could select this this shot of the zebras. I'm told that's the correct way to say it when you're in Kenya, by the way, the zebras instead of the zebras. So you can create full motion video, and most of us know that. We've been doing that for a while inside of Arabesque. Let's see, did I have other questions here? And what Gary was talking about here is the once you finish a DVD complete with your menus, you can export that ISO image. And again, that'll play inside VLC. You can burn it on other programs too, inside of Roxio, etc. The ISO is an industry standard file.
You can send it to a mass replicator, and just using that file, they'll burn you thousands of disks, and if a lot of people use that to archive all their finished projects. And it comes right back into Arabesque exactly as you left it when you import it back in.
Yeah, that's a really cool feature. So instead of having to have a separate DVD, a finished disc for each of your finished products that your clients may want copies in the future, you can burn it out as an ISO image, put it onto an external hard drive, pop that in your safe or your file cabinet, and then if they ask for more, you can reload that. So I've even used ISO image one time for a client that was having a conference across the U.S. Actually, I think I was helping a website member with this. Their client was doing a conference. They made a video for their client. Let's say they were in California and their client was having a conference in North Carolina. Their client needed an additional copy of that DVD, and the conference opened tomorrow. Yeah, they probably, I think FedEx has a service or UPS that you could same day or, overnight, and it would have cost them a boatload of money. So we worked together and used an online service. I don't remember if we used Box, Dropbox, one of those. You send it, uploaded the ISO image file from their Arabesque program, and the client downloaded it there, and they had a system set up on their computer that they burned the copy, and they had it available for the conference the very next day. So, and I've done that with my partner over in the UK, Dalco UK, the Casablanca um, um, distributor for the UK. Is I've sent him some of my finished tutorial DVDs, and he then provides it for his community there instead of me having to ship discs over. So it's a really nice capability. Um, Very quickly revisiting a couple of the things. So within the 3D world, which came out in the middle of this year, again, what you have the ability to do in any of your Casablancas, you can say, okay, where there's my 3D world. What components come with it? So you have these four different capabilities. So you can load in. And I think I've got a finished piece here. So there we go. So you can, put the world on a high quality globe on top of this and set an animation as we go right into Kenya. So you can make the beginning of your travel video, for example. So some really cool capabilities. You can take that same base scene and put four different scenes on a rotating cube on top of that, and you can have it hold in the middle of the scene as I did here, and then it can go off to screen right at the end. So some great titling capabilities we used to had to build a long time in the motion 3D XL capability. So it also does have the ability inside of the 3D world to do text. So I can go ahead here and African Safari, for example. I can pick the pattern. So again, we can have and pick the font itself. And I'm going to go here let's go with this guy here. Actually, I like these. The ability to load in fonts, which I absolutely love in today's Casablanca. And you can choose the patterns. And again, as we do a little preset here, so African Safari animated across the top. Position that, bring that down. XYZ, and reduce the size a little bit here. And change the font, come down. Check full size to check my positioning. African Safari looking pretty good. And we do a preview of that. So some really nice 3D titling that can remain static, or that you can do motion across the piece. You can have that fade in. You have the text flight, which gives you that ability to animate your titles to come in. And again, changing the lighting, the texture, the sides on the 3D animation, what they call the extruded sides, some really cool capabilities there. I did mention, which is a small piece of software, but one I like a lot, is where'd she go? Pattern 3 here. That's under new. So come over here. Oopsie. I told it to create something, and I didn't mean to tell it to create something. Where we go? Pattern 3. Select all. So pattern 2 we've had for a while gives you the ability to select for example, a logo. So I can bring in the UHD collection in here as well, and you see there are some cool animated overlays. But I also have the ability excuse me, to bring in custom images. And this is where a lot of people talk about, their logo. So I can bring in my Casablanca Expert logo. Let's position that pattern. Let's adjust the size so you can do a bug this way. Position that in the bottom right corner, for example. Now, if I was doing a bug, I wouldn't want to do this. But the nice thing about this pattern 3 built right into the OS is it gives you the ability to you can see you can fade in your graphics and out your graphics. So if you've got a corporate logo, a company logo at the beginning of a scene, for example, it gives you the ability to look right at that. So some nice capabilities on that. Where'd you go here? What's the other one I wanted to do here? Do I have that loaded? Reloaded my system here. I'm going to go ahead, while I'm looking this up, I'm going to go ahead. So Pip Studio 3, again, very, very sophisticated program. You have more intricate capabilities than we've had inside of any Pip program before, and I'll direct you to the full webinar and or the product videos that Gary has on his website to look at the intricacies of that program. Also this year, I did revisit the Timex software. For those of you in motion manipulation, I think is a really integral piece of software that gives you amazing capabilities in terms of what I call motion manipulation, both fast and slow motion, and also the interpolator that lets you go regular motion until you get to a point, and then you can go slow or fast and bring it back to regular motion. So cool capabilities there as well. As we see, we're just past the top of the hour. As we begin to come into that 1 hour mark, I want to leave time if there are some closing questions for anyone. I will also make sure that we address some of the questions that were brought up, but we didn't have the answer to live in our session. And I will include those in the show notes for today. Gary, do you have any remaining things you wanted to share with those who are with us live and those who are watching this in the recording view?
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. The Linux Casablanca 3 systems like the Carrot and the Topaz and the S6000, 3000, 4100, 2000. Those models, a lot of people have not, gone all the way to Bogart 11 on those. There's a lot of things that they just aren't powerful enough for. So, what we also have going on is people that are on the Bogart 5 or less, or Arabesque 5 or less, you should probably take advantage of, because for 169 you can get Bogart 7, which brings in all the high definition stuff onto the onto your capabilities, and 60 frames per second progressive, for instance. So all those cool new features, and Arabesque 6 for 169. So it's a little simpler than the Bogart 11, not as many things in it. So we've got that thing going on. I don't know if it's it's probably going to be a ongoing thing. It might go past January 31st on that deal. And as somebody at the beginning of the session asked you a question about color control, I looked at my system, and under the image processing effects, I've got control color in mine. So, and that's part of the basic Bogart operating system. So I don't know. She's probably looking in the wrong location, maybe in the effects menu or something like that. It won't be there, but it is in the image processing effects.
Thank you, Gary. Yeah, just thinking here. Let's see. Don't see anything there. One of our colleagues is asking Gary is which Bogart OS version do you recommend if they have an S2000? How high should they go? What are they gonna, make make the best use of that?
Yeah, if money is not an option, Bogart 11, that would be going from five. That would be the full price of 299. But those aren't on. So yeah, the sale we got going on now is just add-on, so that wouldn't qualify there. But yeah, it's real. The reason Germany came out with that Bogart 7 and Airbus 6 thing is just a lot of people were just stuck back in the last decade, and not only are there feature enhancements that they've missed, but a lot of bug fixes, and so the beauty of our system now is each Windows or the standalones, both of those platforms now, when you download Bogart 11, in fact, that's how you would load Bogart 7 on a old S series system, is you load the Bogart 11 download, and it also has a Bogart 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and 5 on it. So whatever you have a license number for, you can go ahead and activate it in the install product menu, and so you have the ability to go, as long as you have a license code, to jump between different versions of Bogart if you want.
Gotcha. Okay. So the person did clarify. That's right. And I was just looking here. There was a software program called a color filter, I believe. But while I'm going to look that up, so our colleague on the S2000, he said, so if money is an object, what version would you recommend of both the OS and Arabesque?
I'm not going to try to be smarter than Germany, so I'm going to go with Bogart 7 and Arabesque 6.
All right, Bogart 7 and Airbus 6. Yeah, Airbus 6 did have a lot of functionality, I think, that was really adding nicely. So
You
I
got
was
10
looking
projects.
up. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you have 10 projects in there. Well, before that, it was just one single project.
Right.
You had to burn, get your disc done, and then you could, you know. So maybe it was 5. I don't know. It's cobwebs, too early.
Yeah, I know that this is not Gary's favorite time of day, so I really appreciate you coming out with us here. So I will look that up, Lowell, and get back to you on that, and just to confirm that. I remember that as well now. So um, great. So again, if there are follow-up questions, I will shoot an email, especially those of you who are website members. I will follow up with you. We are scheduled to have our next webinar. And he's whipping out his calendar here. Next Friday, January 24th, at 7 a.m. Pacific time, 10 a.m. Eastern. The topic is digital assets and your Casablanca video editor. So in other words, like if you do still have digital hotcakes, and there are a number of, believe it or not, cost-free and royalty-free, not only images, graphics, but also video clips that are available on the web that you can download and use legally and freely in your Casablanca. We'll walk through the different functions inside of the Casablanca you already have that are built into the operating system that will help you get the most from these digital assets that might kind of spruce up and spice up your work. Again, Gary, thank you. I can't thank you enough for being with us today. Always appreciate your wisdom and your sense of humor and your knowledge, and look forward to the next time we might do this with the community, and hope you and the colleagues online have a great day.
Thanks. It's been a pleasure, and thanks for the opportunity, Chet.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone. You'll receive an email with follow-up links within probably about 48 hours, if not sooner. All right. Bye-bye now.